children never caused such trouble. They all became acupuncturists.
Well, we can't all be acupuncturists.
No, your great-granddaughter had to be a cross-dresser!
Although Mulan did cross-dress for the majority of her military campaign, she was also able to protect China and match the success of the great soldier Fa Zhou, who was her father. What happened to him? How did he gain the honor and recognition that is even recognized by that dude with the clipboard?
Fa Zhou. The Fa Zhou?
I didn't know Fa Zhou had a son.
He doesn't talk about me much.
Hello, I'm Ben from Wotso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people, and today we're discovering the story of Fa Zhou's time as a Chinese soldier. To discover a historical event when Fa Zhou could have become a war hero, we first need to determine when Mulan occurred. The original story of Mulan can be traced back to the Ballad of Mulan. The earliest accounts state she lived during the Northern Wei dynasty, which reigned from 386 to 534 CE. Although other versions state Mulan existed during the rule of Emperor Yang of Sui China, who ruled from 604 to 617 CE. Some signs also indicate Mulan takes place in the 14th century because of the city in the end of the movie, which some believe to be the Forbidden City, and the Chinese clothing, which most likely closely mirrors the style of the traditional Han Dynasty, but other than these points, there isn't much evidence to support this time period. Both the Wei Dynasty and the Sui Dynasty could be the time period for Mulan. For example, during the Northern Wei Dynasty and during the short two-generation Sui Dynasty that repaired and constructed several sections of the Great Wall of China, Shan Yu explains the emperor invited him to China because of his building of the wall. As you can tell, the historical accuracy of the film is kind of wishy-washy, making the decision to choose which time period Mulan lives in very difficult. But I determined it must have happened during the Sui Dynasty, because of their luxurious fireworks which some believe were developed during this dynasty. Even though Attila the Hun's empire fell in 469 CE, suggesting the time period should be placed in the Wei Dynasty, remnants of his armies in the Mulan universe may have sustained the empire's destruction until Shan Yu brought them together underneath his rule for one final stand against China, still allowing me to believe they lived during the Sui Dynasty. Just prior to the Sui Dynasty's overthrow by the Tang Dynasty, the Sui were riddled with war against one of the three Korean kingdoms, known as the Goryeo. This conflict is logically named the Goryeo-Sui War. Fa Zhou was recruited by Emperor Yang as a young man in the early years of the Goryeo-Sui War, during the Sui Dynasty's first invasion. After years of proving his fighting skills, the zenith of his career came during the Sui's second invasion of the Goryeo. The Sui faced devastating losses in the Battle of the Salsu River, which is when I believe Fa Zhou gained his status as a war hero. The Sui forces were retreating when the Goryeo charged after them, forcing the Sui to retreat into enemy territory. On the Salsu River, the Sui were ambushed and sustained massive casualties. But Fa Zhou was an honorable man and protected his fellow soldiers to the death. Anyways, through his many battles and his high level of experience, he facilitated the retreat of hundreds of soldiers by being a leader during the turmoil. During the retreat, Fa Zhou sustained injuries to his leg but continued to forge ahead in hopes of seeing his young daughter and wife one more time. Historical texts state Sui soldiers were required to travel 200 kilometers to escape death, further providing permanent damage to Fa Zhou's leg. When the Sui soldiers initially crossed the Salsu River, they came with 305,000 men and left with 2,800. The men who Fa Zhou led spoke highly of his leadership and determination, spreading across the Chinese kingdom of his heroism during this dark war. He returned home as a war hero. Many people actually disagreed with the Goryeo-Sui War, which led to peasants, farmers, soldiers, aristocrats, and landlords, pretty much everyone, rising up against the emperor to establish a new rule. Years after Fa Zhou's time in the army, prior to the end of the Sui Dynasty in about 617 CE, I believe Shan Yu's forces rose together and hoped to establish their rule over the weakened and publicly unapproved Sui. Although Mulan may not have agreed with the emperor and how he handled the war, she still had her obligation to protect her people from outsiders and protect her leader. Although only a few years after Mulan saved China, the Sui Dynasty fell to the Tang Dynasty because of the instability with their Goryeo-Sui War, and her father fought in the war that ended the empire. They both proved their willingness to protect their nation and their fellow people, cementing them as war legends. Now it's time for you to tell me your thoughts. Do you believe this is how Mulan's dad became a war hero, or do you think he participated in a different conflict? Maybe he tripped and his leg just never got better. Leave your thoughts in the comment section along with ideas for future Discovering Disney videos you'd like to see. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, then remember to subscribe to Wotso videos to stay up to date with when we post. Thanks for watching and have a magical day.